Professional wrestling thrives on scripted drama and athletic spectacle, but on August 24, 2025, that illusion was shattered. During a Knox Pro Wrestling event in Los Angeles, a planned segment turned into a real brutal assault, broadcast live and instantly viral. MMA fighter Rajajackson attacked pro wrestler Stuart Smith, crossing the line from performance to genuine violence. The shocking incident left Smith hospitalized and the combat sports world reeling, raising urgent questions about safety and accountability. This is the story of how a scripted show became a harrowing reality and why it must never happen again. The Knox Pro event was billed as family-friendly entertainment, promising an evening where parents and children could come together to enjoy the spectacle of professional wrestling. The arena was alive with excitement, filled with the buzz of anticipation as families settled into their seats, eager for a night of thrills and laughter. The show was designed to be accessible and fun for everyone, with colorful characters, dramatic storylines, and just the right amount of over-the-top action to keep the crowd engaged. Drawing fans of all ages in person and online, the event was a celebration of community and shared excitement. Children waved foam fingers and wore replica championship belts, while parents reminisced about their own childhood wrestling heroes. The energy in the building was infectious, with cheers and laughter echoing through the stands. To add an extra layer of excitement, RajaJackson, son of M.M.A. legend Quinton "Rampage" Jackson, was brought in to add crossover appeal. His presence generated a buzz, drawing in not just wrestling fans but also followers of mixed martial arts, curious to see how the son of a fighting icon would fare in the world of sports entertainment. The script called for a classic confrontation. Smith would provoke Jackson with a staged beer can hit, sparking a rivalry. This was a time-honored wrestling trope, designed to get the crowd invested in the unfolding drama. The performers rehearsed their roles, knowing exactly when to hit their marks and how to sell the moment for maximum effect. It was meant to be a safe, controlled segment, just another night of wrestling storytelling. The athletes were professionals, trained to entertain while keeping each other safe, and the production team worked hard to ensure that every moment went off without a hitch. The crowd was ready for drama, not danger. They expected to see heroes and villains clash in the ring, to cheer for their favorites and boo the bad guys, all within the safe confines of a scripted show. But no one expected the scripted tension to spiral into real violence, turning a staged feud into a nightmare. In a matter of seconds, the atmosphere shifted from playful excitement to genuine fear, as the line between performance and reality was crossed in front of a stunned audience. The line between show and reality vanished in an instant, leaving everyone in the arena questioning what they had just witnessed, and whether the night's entertainment had gone too far. The moment Smith struck Jackson with the prop can, the script called for a safe, choreographed response. Instead, Jackson's MMA instincts took over. He slammed Smith hard, knocking him out or dazing him. What followed was a barrage of real, unanswered punches to Smith's unconscious body. The live stream captured the horror as Jackson delivered over 20 blows before others intervened. Security and wrestlers rushed the ring, struggling to pull Jackson away. The broadcast cut out, leaving the audience in stunned silence. The planned entertainment was gone, replaced by a shocking, real assault. The trust between performers and fans was broken in a matter of seconds. Jackson's slam was pure MMA, not wrestling, a move with no regard for Smith's safety. In wrestling, protecting your opponent is rule number one. Here, that trust was obliterated. The ground and pound that followed was relentless, with Smith defenseless and unconscious. Ringside confusion delayed intervention, but once reality set in, it took several people to stop Jackson. The footage is damning, a sustained, uncontrolled assault in front of families and children. This wasn't a botched spot, it was a catastrophic failure of safety and judgment. The ring became a crime scene, not a stage. Rajajackson, just 25 years old, is the son of legendary MMA fighter Quinton "Rampage" Jackson, a name that echoes through the world of mixed martial arts. Growing up in the shadow of his father's fame, Raja was immersed in the world of real combat from a young age. His training was intense, focused on the raw, unforgiving realities of MMA, where every move counts and every mistake can be costly. Unlike many who enter the world of professional wrestling, Raja's background was not in performance or entertainment, but in the art of actual fighting. He was conditioned to react with instinct and force, not to play a character or follow a script. When Raja stepped into the wrestling ring, he brought with him a fighter's mindset, but he had no professional wrestling experience. He lacked the specialized training that teaches wrestlers how to protect themselves and their partners, how to communicate silently in the ring, and how to safely execute moves that only look dangerous. In wrestling, cooperation is key. Each performer must trust the other to keep them safe. For Raja, this world was unfamiliar territory, and the rules were completely different from what he knew. Opposite Raja was Stuart "Sykostu" Smith, a man with a very different background. Stuart is a military veteran, someone who has faced real danger and learned discipline and control in high-pressure situations. After his service, he became a seasoned independent pro wrestler, performing in countless matches and earning a reputation for professionalism and skill. Stuart was expected to be the steady hand in the ring, guiding the segment and ensuring that everything went smoothly, even with an inexperienced partner. The worlds of wrestling and MMA may look similar from the outside, but at their core, they are fundamentally different. Wrestling is built on trust, communication, and the ability to work together to tell a story. Every move is carefully planned, and both athletes must be in sync to avoid injury. MMA, on the other hand, is about decisive action, real strikes, and genuine competition. The mindset required for each is worlds apart. In this match, Stuart Smith was playing his role as a professional wrestler, following the script and trusting his partner to do the same. But Raja Jackson, trained for real combat, responded as a fighter, not a performer. The difference in their approaches was stark. One was acting, the other was reacting with genuine aggression. This clash of mindsets, combined with Raja's lack of wrestling training, created a volatile situation. Without the shared language of wrestling, miscommunication was inevitable. The ring, meant to be a place of controlled performance, became a battleground of confusion and frustration, setting the stage for disaster. What happened next was more than just a simple mistake or misunderstanding. It was a collision of two completely different worlds, one built on trust and choreography, the other on instinct and survival. The consequences were immediate and severe, leaving everyone involved shaken and the audience in shock. The incident that unfolded in the ring was a stark reminder of the dangers that come from mixing disciplines without proper preparation. It exposed the risks not just to the athletes, but to the very fabric of trust that professional wrestling relies on. In the end, it was a lesson learned the hard way, one that would not be forgotten by anyone who witnessed it. After the incident, Quinton "Rampage" Jackson publicly condemned his son's actions, offering no excuses. He revealed Raja had suffered a concussion days earlier and was advised against any physical activity. Rampage suggested confusion from the injury may have contributed, but he took full responsibility as a father and public figure. His priority was Smith's recovery, expressing deep regret and apologizing to the wrestling community. Rampage's response was seen as honorable. He owned the tragedy and called for accountability. The pain in his words underscored the gravity of what had happened. Smith was rushed to the hospital in serious condition, unconscious after the attack. Thankfully, he regained consciousness and stabilized, but faces a long recovery from both physical and psychological trauma. The audience, including children, was left horrified. Expecting entertainment, they witnessed real violence. Online outrage erupted, with many blaming the promoters for putting an untrained, concussed fighter in the ring. Authorities are now involved. Jackson could face serious criminal charges. The incident has cast a dark shadow over independent wrestling, forcing a reckoning on safety and responsibility. The trust between performers, promoters, and fans has been deeply shaken. At first glance, MMA and pro wrestling might look similar. Two athletes squaring off in a ring, surrounded by roaring fans, each trying to outdo the other. But beneath the surface, these worlds are built on fundamentally different philosophies. MMA is a test of real combat skill, where every punch, kick, and submission is meant to end the fight. Pro wrestling, on the other hand, is a carefully choreographed performance, blending athleticism with storytelling to entertain the crowd. The stakes are real in both, but the intent could not be more different. One is about victory, the other about spectacle. MMA fighters spend years honing their instincts to finish fights quickly and decisively, relying on split-second reactions and raw aggression. Pro wrestlers, meanwhile, train just as hard, but their focus is on protecting their opponents, executing complex moves safely, and weaving a compelling narrative for the audience. Wrestlers must trust each other completely, knowing that a single misstep can lead to serious injury. The art lies in making the action look real while keeping everyone safe. Problems arise when these two worlds collide. If an MMA fighter, untrained in the nuances of pro wrestling, steps into the ring, their natural instincts can take over. Instead of pulling punches or working with their opponent, they might react as if it's a real fight, ignoring the script and putting everyone at risk. The result can be chaos, confusion, and sometimes disaster. The crowd may be shocked, but the consequences for the athletes can be even more severe. That's why successful crossovers are so rare and so impressive. Athletes like Brock Lesnar and Ronda Rousey didn't just rely on their MMA backgrounds. They dedicated themselves to learning the craft of pro wrestling from the ground up. They spent countless hours retraining their bodies and minds, respecting the unique demands of the squared circle. Their success is a testament to the discipline and humility required to bridge the gap between these two worlds. But when that training is skipped, the results can be tragic. The infamous Jackson incident stands as a stark warning. Without proper preparation, the risks are not just theoretical. Lives and careers can be changed in an instant. The physical toll of a single mistake can echo for years, affecting not just the athletes, but everyone involved in the event. Promoters and organizers have a responsibility to ensure that every fighter understands the rules of the stage. It's not enough to assume that a skilled athlete can simply play along. The choreography, timing, and trust required in pro wrestling are skills that must be learned and respected. Without this understanding, the entire performance and everyone's safety is at risk. Ultimately, this was not just a personal mistake, but a failure of preparation and oversight at every level. Coaches, promoters, and athletes all share the responsibility to ensure that the lines between MMA and pro wrestling are respected, and that everyone is properly trained for the role they're stepping into. When those lines are blurred, the cost is measured not just in injuries, but in lost trust, broken careers, and the disappointment of fans who expect better. The lesson is clear. The price of ignoring the differences between MMA and pro wrestling is far too high for anyone to pay. This tragedy must be a wake-up call for wrestling and combat sports, especially on the independent scene. Every performer must be properly trained and medically cleared, no exceptions. Promoters have a duty to enforce strict safety protocols and never put unprepared outsiders in harm's way. Medical checks, vetting, and clear boundaries between disciplines are non-negotiable. The trust and safety of performers must come first, always. Wrestling is dangerous, but it should never be deadly. Only by learning from this failure can the industry ensure that the show never becomes this real again.